Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here. It's a beautiful day to make something quick and inexpensive together. A super cute round door sign for under $10. So one of the biggest trends this year are round door hangers. We've made many of them this year, like this ho 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 Christmas sign that you see over here. They look fabulous on a front door or a wall, but they do require a fair bit of prep work. You typically need to sand them, stain them, or paint them, and then seal them. And that's all before you decorate with vinyl and ribbon. So I am going to show you a quick and easy way to make a round door sign using items from the dollar store. So we're going to start with one of these 13-inch charger plates from the dollar store. You can get them in a lot of different colors and styles, but my favorite is the red one. It looks so good. Look at this. It's gorgeous. It's perfect for a round door sign. And then we'll need some vinyl to personalize it. Now, while Dollar Tree does sell vinyl, it is not my favorite. So I'm going to use Cricut Premium Vinyl instead. It weeds and goes on a lot better, trust me. And we only need about 6 inches of vinyl, so it's still really not expensive. Now you'll also need a way to transfer your vinyl to your charger. Now when I first did it using regular transfer tape, it took some of the paint off the charger. Yes, it really did. So instead, I'm going to recommend that you use the alternate painter's tape method. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that too. You can get painter's tape at the dollar store as well. And I'll be using this pink one because this is the one I've got open. And then we're going to decorate the round sign with some of the super cute decorations that I found at Dollar Tree. I'm using these mini pine pigs, and I'm using ribbon, both wired and the narrow stuff, and this very cute snowflake garland. You can even do things like add chalkboard tags or ornaments too. And I'm going to show you how to make the easiest and prettiest bow, a pom-pom bow, using one roll of Dollar Tree ribbon. So for this, you'll also want a pair of scissors, a hot glue gun, and some glue sticks. And it's really easy. You're going to love it. And of course, you need a way to cut your vinyl. Now you could use a craft knife, but the easiest way is to use a Cricut cutting machine like mine here. Any of the Cricuts will do that. You'll also want a green standard grip mat, a scraper, and a weeding tool. And the only other thing you need is a design. And I prepared a number of fun designs for you to use, including the really cute Let It Snow design. So let me show you where to find the free designs, and then we will make this together. Step 1, get my free round door sign design. Just go to my blog at jennifermaker.com/346 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top, and then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 346 and then click it to download a zip file with SVG files for cutting on a Cricut or another cutting machine, DXF files, and printable PDFs for cutting by hand. I'm going to show you how to cut these designs on a Cricut cutting machine. First, upload the SVG cut file that you want to Cricut Design Space. If you're unsure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how. Here's what the Let It Snow design will look like in Cricut Design Space. So I've got this all sized for the Dollar Tree chargers already. Let's zoom out with the button down here at the bottom and move it over. So this is all ready to go. You don't have to do anything extra, but if you wanted to add a name, you certainly could right now. You could, for example, put your name down at the bottom, right, and curve it. And these snowflakes right now are going to go on the rim of the charger. So that would be fun. You could have like welcome and then your family name down here. You could just, or something like welcome to our home. That would be really pretty too. And it's pretty easy. If you want to add text, you just click on text over here on the left, and you can put in a family name, and you can change the the font to something that you would like, which there's a lot of fonts here. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a good one. Is there a Christmas one? I don't know. I'm just going to search for Christmas. Let's see if there's anything Christmassy. Oh, there's this one. That one works. Right. Okay. So let's say we wanted to put it at the bottom, in place of these snowflakes here. Well, we could curve it so that it goes around, And to do that, we just click on curve and we would go like this. And it would look super cute, but I'm not doing that today. But that's what you could do if you wanted to personalize this. And I think that would look really cool. And this font, because I know you're all going to ask me, is called BFC Christmas Cards. And it was in Cricut Access. So one of the Cricut Access fonts, I'm pretty sure, at least. Yes, it's a Cricut font. I can tell because if I click these buttons up here, it's not a system font, so I didn't install it. It's a Cricut font. Okay. But we're not doing that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. This is what we're going to do. So this is really easy. We just click on Make It in the upper right corner. And we're going to get this. And here are our snowflakes. Now I am going to move our snowflakes so they're spaced apart a little bit. It's going to make it easier. Now some of you might be like, well, why didn't you just attach that, Jennifer, so that you could just put it all onto your plate in one fell swoop? Well, that's not really going to work so well because it's a curved, the surface is not flat. So we want everything to be separated out like this. And I'm just moving these snowflakes so that I can cut in between them easier when I go to apply them. And this looks great. It's permanent vinyl. We do not need to mirror it, so do not mirror it. It's just going to go on just like this. So we click on Continue. And then you'll want to connect your machine. I have connected my maker already. You can see up here. It's by Bluetooth. All right, so now we need to select our materials. I'm going to use premium vinyl, so I'm just going to search for vinyl. So type in vinyl right here and press return. And I get all the different vinyls, and this is the one I want right here, premium vinyl. There's a lot of options, so if you're using something else, be sure to match up your vinyl. If you're using a Cricut Explorer and you don't get the option to browse all materials, make sure you change your dial to custom so that you get all of these options. So I'm going to do premium vinyl and click done. Then I'm going to change my pressure to more because it always helps me get a nice clean cut. Step 2, cut your vinyl. Here is my vinyl. Now here is a tip. I hear a lot of people say, how do I get my vinyl out of my, sometimes it gets stuck in here. If it's been sitting in here, or if it's brand new, like the vinyl will kind of want to stick to the plastic inside. Here's what you do. You just put your fingers in here like this, and you make the roll tighter by twisting it. So it's smaller, and if it's stuck to the plastic at all, it'll come apart and will not hurt it. So you just put your fingers in here and twist like this, and then you can pull it out. Okay, so if you ever struggled with this, this is how you do it. Once you know what to do, it is super easy. It is no big deal. And you'll be like, well, why didn't I think of that? All right, so take off the cover. And I only need 6 inches of vinyl. This is a very inexpensive, easy project. So I'm just going to put this right on my mat. It goes in the upper, I have my mat right now like this. It's much easier for me to put my things on my mat, so I've got it turned. But so this is the upper left corner, so it always goes up there to start with. And I've stuck it down. There we go. And now it's not quite, we're going to change that because we want to make sure that all of our vinyl is up at that top line. So I'm just going to bring it a little higher, like this, because we wouldn't want any of our letters to get cut off, right? There we go. That's good. So see where we've got it all up to the top line here. Smooth it all out. And then I'm going to take my craft knife. Here it is. This is my Cricut True Control knife, which I love. You can, of course, just use scissors or whatever. But this, if I do this, I usually get a nice clean cut when I do it. And it's just so much easier. And since this is a cutting mat, I'm not going to hurt it. So just the fastest way for me to get the vinyl off. What is the green mat level of stickiness? Well, this one's pretty sticky. I tend to use the green mat for everything because it just works the best. And I just mostly just use this one mat. You will see tutorials where I use different mats for different reasons. Usually it is a specific reason why I'll use the blue mat or the purple mat. When my go-to mat, though, is always this green mat. It stays the stickiest, longest. I don't know, it just works really well for me. So make sure your vinyl is all smoothed down. If you want to use your scraper tool, you can, right? Scraper tool. But it, usually I just use my hands and it's fine. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and cut it. So let's switch over to here, put it in, and load it with the load button. The fine point blade is in there, which is what we want. And I'm going to go ahead and everything looks great in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to press the flashing button and we're going to cut it. Step 3, weed your vinyl. So it's finished. We just press the flashing button to unload it. There we go. And it's cut. So once the vinyl is cut, we weed it. So to weed it means to remove all of the excess vinyl that you don't want to transfer to your project. All right, so I'm just going to gently lift it up. And let's see, where is I like to know where my vinyl cut edges are to make sure that as I'm bringing it up, and I'm going to try to hold that in the light so you can see it. So right here is the S, and up here is the L. And then I'm not like just yanking the whole piece of vinyl off and then taking some of it with me because I was a little bit too fast. And that looks excellent. Oh, but I can see right here, this here wanted to come up. So when your vinyl does that, you can just sort of you can just use your weeding tool to put it back down. And I can even straighten that out a little later. So let's get this all weeded. So now we have our project weeded. Now it's time to apply some kind of tape to transfer it. Now, normally I would put Cricut transfer tape onto this. However, when I did it before, and let me show you, this is just painted, right? This charger, it's got sparkles on it already. It took a little bit of the paint off when I did it. So I am going to, instead of using the Cricut transfer tape, I'm going to use painter's tape. So to use painter's tape as a transfer, what you want to do is layer it on top of each other. So you don't have to be neat in the beginning. So you're just going to go like this, and you want the sticky side against your vinyl. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this, and we're going to have it overlap on the edges, and then we need it to overlap itself like this. Okay, has anyone else ever done this before? Ever used painter's tape? And again, the reason why I'm using painter's tape is because it's not as sticky. And because then it shouldn't take off the paint on our charger. That's the plan. And because we want it to be nice and smooth at the edges, just like a piece of transfer tape. So we're just going to cut that off right there. Okay, and then we remove all the extra tape. And obviously this takes longer than using a piece of transfer tape. So you could, of course, if you had a piece of transfer tape that was well loved, as in you've used it before and it's not crazy sticky, or you want to get it less sticky. But I thought it would be fun to show you this method if you haven't seen it. So that's why I did that. Okay, so let's burnish this down with our scraper tool so that it's going to stick to our painter's tape better. And then we'll flip our mat over and remove it. So we're going to just flip this over and then peel your project away. So you're basically peeling the mat away from your project. This releases it easier. It means that it's not going to get all curled or ripped or whatever, and it just comes off so much better, right? So if you've ever struggled with this, this is the way to take it off. All right. So there is our project. So now we need to take off our backing on our vinyl, and hopefully our vinyl is going to stay right onto our transfer tape. So let's see. Awesome. Working just as it should. So I'm just taking off the backing. Yay. There it is. Isn't that awesome? Step 4, apply your vinyl. So here is our charger, and let's make sure it's clean. Now normally when I apply vinyl, I clean it with alcohol, but I'm not going to clean this. I don't know what this is made out of. Like, it might take the paint right off. We don't want that, so I'll just brush it. If you have a lint-free cloth, that's probably better than just using your hand, but this is good enough for now. There we go. That looks good, right? Okay, so here, oh, we need to cut it. I forgot. So we have this big design here. Obviously, we're not going to do it like that. We have to cut this first. So I'm just going to cut Maybe try cutting away from me, that might be better. There we go. Okay, so here is our project, Let It Snow. Now, even though it's just on a piece on, it's on painter's tape, even though it's on painter's tape, I'm still going to use the same method that I use whenever I put vinyl onto something. And so what you do is you hold your vinyl or your transfer tape, your vinyl, whatever, like this. So this shape of a taco, right? So that you and then here's the letters. So you hold it like this. And then this allows you to put it onto whatever surface you're putting it onto without bubbles and wrinkles, right? So I'm going to want it to be about like this. And the nice thing about it being round is that I don't have to worry that much about it being straight because it's round. So I'm going to have it like this. And one thing too, I want to note is that I'm going to have my bow up here, and bows tend to take a lot of space. So I'm not going to center it perfectly on my plate. I'm going to move it down just a little bit so that the words are not competing with the bow at the top. All right, so a little tip for those of you who are making these round signs. All right, so I'm going to do it right about here. And so I just make that taco shape, and then I press it down in the center first, and then I allow it to fall outward like this, like that. And then, there we go. And then I use my scraper tool from the center outward, like that. And this is how we get nice, straight, unwrinkled, mostly bubble free. Let's be honest, usually there's a little bubbles. I am not going to worry about it for this project. And then we scrape it down. Now this is a really nice smooth plate, smooth surface, so we don't have to go crazy with the scraping. And we do want to be cautious because, you know, the paint did come off when I was doing my first one. So we just need to get it scraped down enough so that it's going to stick and release from our tape. So let's see how it's going to do. With any luck, it'll come off really easily. It looks like it's going to. So can you see okay? I'm just going to peel that right up. So it's this layered painter's tape is acting like a piece of transfer tape for us. And it's not going to pull up any of our paint. That's the idea. It is, I don't know what that is. I don't have a little white thing there. This looks great. Goes nice and slow like this. Then if you start to see a problem, you can stop and come up with a solution, right? Just, I recommend, I am not a fast crafter, I'm a slow crafter. I take my time, just like shopping. I'm a slow shopper too, for the same reason. Here we go. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to put the snowflakes around the like 75% of the bottom curve, because again, our bow is going to hide anything that's up here. So let's start by putting one right down here at the center bottom. So, and we're going to rotate them a little bit as we go so they look like natural, not all going in the same orientation, which is my recommendation. So I'll do this one straight. So I'm just setting that down there, and I'll use my scraper tool. And this is where I had the issue, was on the rim of the plate. So, all right, so I've scraped it down, and we'll take off. I can see I need one of the little branches on the snowflake didn't quite come off. There we go. Whenever you have that issue, just put your transfer tape back down, scrape it again, and you can do it again. We did it. What do you think? Is this cute? I think it's really, really cute. I love it. Step 5, decorate your round door design. Let's start by putting our pine bows and our garland at the top. So again, I'm using these mini pine picks from the Dollar Tree. There are 6 of them in here, and they have this fake snow on them, which is appropriate. Of course, it's going to put snow all over our door sign, but we can always just blow it off later, so no big deal. So I'm just going to put them at the top like this. And in the beginning, I like to arrange things before I start gluing it down, because then if it's not quite right, I can, fix it. And this one is flipped over. There we go. It's like this. Isn't this pretty? I think it's really pretty. And I love it that I'm going to kind of offset these a little bit so they look fuller like this. See? And here we go. The top just like this. Awesome. Okay, so I think this is really nice. So I'm also going to use this garland. So let me show you how, because I'm not going to just stick it on there as is. Let me set this over here. And this garland is 25 feet and it's got little plastic snowflakes on it. Isn't that pretty? So let's just cut off the tag at the top because it's wired, which I love. In fact, that's why I got it, because we can do cool things when things are wired. We can shape them the way we want. Let's take off this little piece of wire here. Okay. There's like a little twisty tie here, I think, or it's tied with itself. I can't quite see. Yes, it just tied with itself, it looks like, which makes sense. Okay, so we have all this cool stuff. So what I'm going to do is cut off about maybe 2 feet of this. It's about 2 feet here. And you can just cut this with scissors. I'll use these kind of not great scissors because the cutting wire will certainly dull your blade. So keep that in mind. Don't use your great scissors for that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around my fingers. So I'm just going to go like this, and because it's going to make really cool curlicues. So it's just wrapping it around 2 fingers. You can do more or less, whatever you want. And then afterwards, you can pull it apart like this, and you have this really pretty, I'm a fan of the curlicue. So you get this really pretty thing, and then also it's got like more body and bounce to it. It shows off the snowflakes really well. And then on my charger, however, I am going to snip it right here where you see, like, so we don't have just a piece of wire sticking out there. I'm going to snip it right there so it's just a snowflake at the end on each one, like this. And then over here, same thing, a snowflake on the end. Everyone can see what I'm doing. Here we go. So I'm just going to cut it right there. There. Then I am going to wrap it up a little tighter. I pulled it apart quite a bit. And then I'm going to put it on my pine bow just like this. Isn't that pretty? I think it's really pretty. So now to make my life simpler, I do need to glue this on here, but like, you know, we've got 6 pine picks and 1 wire snowflake curlicue. What I'm going to do is just take a piece of my ribbon and I'm going to tie it together, right? And then it's going to have something to glue onto the plate. So let's see, where's my ribbon? Here it is. This is the one I already opened. Let's take one I opened. So here's the ribbon. I'm just going to cut off a little bit. And if we use decorative ribbon, then if it's seen, it looks pretty. So no big deal, right? So there's just a piece of ribbon. And I'm just going to, now the Dollar Tree, this is really inexpensive ribbon. It's only one-sided. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. So I'm going to just tuck it under here, slide it underneath, bring it up, and just tie it right in the center. Like this, nice and easy. I am all about easy. Easy is good. Because there's plenty of things that aren't. So whenever we can do easy, we should do easy. All right, so, and the pine picks are also wired. So if you want to arrange them differently, you can, but I'm happy with this. So now it's time to glue. Oh, and my glue gun turned off. So it's okay. I have 2 right here. This one, I just noticed it turned off because I've been talking for a while. So I'm going to use my other one, which is good. Of course, it might have gone to sleep as well. So let's see. I'm just going to put it on the corner of my mat. It hasn't gone to sleep. So I'm just going to glue. Let's blow this off. Actually, there's a lot of stuff on it right now. All right. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to put a little glue right there, and then I'll just press down on my pine bow bundle. And because I tied it right there, I can press down on it without burning myself on the hot glue. That is the goal, at least. And because it's wired, you are going to have to press down on it. You're not going to want to just set it there and have it magically, because it's wired, so it has body to it, and so it'll just pop right back up. So you want to press down on it and press down on that knot so that you don't burn your fingers. And of course, if you have a problem Get yourself some finger protectors. They also sell them at the Dollar Tree. So these are little silicone finger protectors, and they will prevent you from getting burns, and they're great to use. Thank you, Carolyn and Lori and Loretta. I'm really happy that you like this. And so for anyone, well, I'm just going to hold this for another minute. This is a Dollar Tree charger plate, $1. This is Cricut vinyl, but it's just like 6 inches of it, so under $1. These are pine bow picks. They were $1. There were 6 for $1. Yeah, 6 pack for $1. And then this is the snowflake curlicue. What's a curlicue now? Snowflake garland. Okay, so I think that's good. Step 6, tie and add an easy bow. We're going to use buffalo plaid to make our bow, and we're going to make a pom-pom bow. Super easy. You're going to love this. I'm going to use my craft knife to cut this open. If I were better prepared, I would have had it open already. You know, like those cooking shows where they have everything prepared already? It's always amazing how they do that. Sometimes when I'm thinking ahead, I get things ready. So one of these 9-foot wired edged ribbon will make one really pretty pom-pom bow. So if you are making more than one, plan on 1 roll per bow, okay? And I'm also going to grab something else for this. We're going to need a piece of wire, and I am just going to use a piece of the snowflake garland. So maybe I'll cut one a little longer. So let's cut one a little longer. That one's pretty short. So here's our snowflake garland, and let's cut off a bigger piece so we have it to work with. We're going to use that to tie our bow. So we've got our ribbon and our tie, and then we need either our hands or just a piece of cardboard. This piece of cardboard looks like about 6 inches. So we're going to wrap the bow either around our fingers or around a surface. When I made this one right here, let me show you. So here's the pom-pom bow. When I made this one, I just used my fingers. I want it to be a little bigger, and my fingers don't quite have a 6-inch span, so I'm going to use this piece of cardboard instead to wrap it around. All right, so here's what you do to make the pom-pom bow. We're just going to hold it right here, and you're going to wrap it around a bunch of times. How many times you wrap it is really up to you. It doesn't have to be a lot, actually. And I would say like at least 3, but you can definitely do more. The more you do, the more full it will look. If you want to have a tail, which I do, you're going to want to make sure you leave enough on your roll to make a tail. And my tail is, I would say it's about 18 inches long. So I'm going to use all of this ribbon and just leave an 18-inch section that I didn't wrap. Has anyone ever made this bow before? All right, so here we go. Now again, this is single-sided. There's definitely a side to this. You can tell, right? But it's not so bad. It's not so bad. But if you are using ribbon and there is just one side to it, keep it that, pay attention to that because it'll matter. Okay, so here we've reached the end. So I want to not wrap this bit here so that I have a tail, okay? So I'm just going to cut this off right here. Oops. There we go. My gunky scissors. There we go. So here's we need this still. I'll put this over here to keep for later. All right, so that's for later. So now we have it wrapped around. It's just a piece of cardboard. It's 6 inches. It could be bigger. You want a bigger bow, make a bigger, take another piece of cardboard or whatever that's bigger. You can also make a smaller bow. I actually used the same method to make this little bow right here. This is also a pom-pom bow. It was just like a couple inches though, right? So here's a bigger one and here's a small one. So the size of the bow is dependent upon the size of your template, or again, you can just just wrap it around your fingers, but you see that's a lot smaller, right? So I want a nice big bow. All right, so now we just take it off. I was just using a glue box if you're curious what that was. All right, so make sure it's all lined up with itself like this. And you can go ahead and do this if you want. And then we're going to trim the edges. We're going to notch the edges. So one here And you make sure when you do this that you don't cut the center, okay? You want to have a little bit left there. So do you see how the cut is right here? So I'm starting this next cut like a 1/2 inch over, I would say. And of course, how far it is going to depend upon the width of your ribbon. This is like, I would say it's 2.5 inches wide, if I were to guess. So do the same thing down here. Just notch the corners like this and like this. This is really easy, okay? So I have notched all of my corners. And now we're going to open it up. So find the center, which looks like it's about here. And we can tell because it's not quite as pretty on the other side of the ribbon. So that helps in this case. And then we're going to fold it the other way. So it's like this. See? So we're folding it like this. And the idea is that these two notched points meet in the center, like that. See? Then we're going to hold it right here in the middle, and we're going to tie it like this. We're just going to use this wire, and we're just going to twist it like a twisty tie, just like this. And then because we want a tail, we're going to take our tail that we already cut right here, and we're going to put it right in the center. Now, the other side will be the front of my bow probably, so I'm going to just sort of try to get it so that the good side is facing the table, right? You could do it the other way, of course, but I'm paying attention to which side is, and then we're going to twist it again like this. You think it's cute? Awesome, thank you. All right, so we've twisted again, and then I'm going to bring this wire around to the front because it's okay if we see it, right? It's got pretty snowflakes on it. There we go. And then I'll twist it again. So it's the edges are down. So there we go. Here's our bow. Bring it up so we can see our little snowflakes there. All right, so now we're not done yet. We have a bow, but we're not done yet. This is the fun part. Okay, we'll take care of these ends later. So now it's time to fluff it up. And this one I can see here is extra, so we'll kind of tuck it back here. That's there's always going to be one part that's not quite caught in there. All right, so now we just fluff it up. So I'm going to just start opening it up like this. So we fan it out. And there's a number of layers here. Doesn't really matter what order you go in. So I fan it out and then we fluff it up. It's like this. It's a pom-pom bow. Of course, if you like that look, you can just keep it as it was. But I think it's pretty when it's all fluffed up like this. And because we notched it in the center, it turns really easily in the middle, right? And it's really easy to do. There. Isn't that pretty? A little snowflake in the center. Oops, forgot one. Let's get this one out too. So you can fluff it up as much as you want, but I think it's really pretty. Oh, let's fix this one right now. I'm going to glue this one in the back. I probably could have caught it right under my wire, but I didn't, so we'll just take care of it right now. Oops, I think I need to do it on the other side. Just a second. There we go. My glue stick was not quite down. There we go. So yeah, if you catch this back one in, then you won't have that issue. But there we go. Really easy, and it's nice and full, and it looks pretty. You can probably, you can certainly give it more dimension and depth, but it's a really pretty bow, and you can put a little center in there if you like it. Do you like it? I want to know. Tell me if you like it. I think it's really pretty because I wouldn't say that I'm great at making bows like naturally. I can tie like the basic bow, okay, but it doesn't. I still struggle like everybody does, but this is really easy to make. You can make this. I can make this. You can make it. You love it? Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so let's put our bow onto our charger. So I am just going to glue it. I'm actually going to glue it right up here to the top, just in case, just to make sure that it's pressed down against it. So I'm just going to get some glue right here in the back, but I'll also put a little on the bow there. And I will press down, make sure that I am making contact with it. Again, be careful. I mean, it's not like, the world's thickest ribbon. So, You could certainly burn yourself through it if you're not careful. I'm actually using my fingertips, like my fingernails, so that I don't. But I want to be sure that it's making contact with the glue as it sets too. Yes, I will put dovetails in Chris. I'm getting to it. I'm so happy that you enjoyed that. I mean, I'm sure that it'll be easier when you're doing it and you're not trying to narrate it. So it's a really, really easy bow. It really is. Okay, I feel like that's in there pretty well. When you're done, you can fluff it up again if you want. There we go. All right, so now there was, I mentioned, first of all, I'm going to cut these. I don't want them to get in the way of my, let's use our sharp scissors. I don't want them to get into the way of our words here. So let's just trim those off there. Okay. But it's fine that they're seen. I think I like having layers and different heights to things. I think it gives it a nice dimension. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the ribbons is actually use my curly cues and kind of bring them over here. That's going to keep my ribbon out of the way of my message, because that's one of the things that we struggle with when we're making a round door hanger, is that you put your bow on and suddenly you can't see your pretty sign, right? So by using these little curly cues, I can keep my ribbon, I can have a nice tail without it worrying about it covering up my message, right? So it works, it does double duty. Now let's make our ends pretty. So you can, if anyone's ever wondered why the ends of ribbon is either cut at a diagonal or a dovetail, it is because when you you're using like a regular woven ribbon, it will produce fraying. These aren't really going to fray that much. They're just some sort of polyester. I don't know what. I'll just cut them at an angle. Now, again, we're cutting wire, so don't use your best scissors for this. Use a pair of scissors that you don't mind getting a little dull, because whenever you cut a piece of wire like that, and of course, if you want to cut a dovetail, you would just cut one diagonal here and one diagonal here, but I think this is fine. I think I did do it on my other ones. No, I didn't. I did diagonals on those too. All right, there we go. Step 7, add a hanger. There's different ways that you could hang this. Some people might want to just display it on just like this. I have it on a plate stand. It's just sitting here. So if you just want to put it into your house somewhere and it's not going on your door, you can certainly do this. But if you want to put it on your door, you need to have a hanger. Now, this is not a piece of wood, so we're not going to be screwing any hardware into the back. So instead, you can just use ribbon. So I'm just going to flip it over. Oops. There's my missing snowflake. I thought I was missing one. That's really funny. Hey, let's save this because I can use this later. All right, so we're going to put ribbon on the back of this. And I'm just going to hot glue it on. So that I need to give you a warning then. If you live somewhere really warm, or you have like that glass door in front of your door, and like the sun, you have a south facing front door, or you live somewhere where it gets really hot, the hot glue may not hold up. So you may want to go for something stronger. Okay. I don't live in a place like that. I live in Michigan. This is not an issue for us. So I am just going to use this hot glue, and I'm just going to glue it to the sides. I will, however, use plenty of it. That will help. So I'm just going to, and how long you make it is going to depend entirely on your door and where you want it to appear. So I'm just going to eyeball it for now, just so that we have a hanger and you can see how to do it. So I'll just cut right here. And then what I'm going to do is going to glue right along here and put the ribbon. So then there's many points of contact then. So even if there is any kind of an issue with, hot sun, or I don't know, or just failing glue, it is just hot glue, it's going to have to fail in a lot of places then, right? So we'll just wrap it around here and then press it down. Does not have to look pretty on the back, unless of course you're selling it. Then you'll probably want to take more care than I'm doing right now. But I am not selling this. This will go on my front door, or a door somewhere in the house. I don't know where yet. There we go. So nice and simple, right? And having these extra points of contact is going to help. Let's put a little more of the top here. What's funny, Mickey? Did I say something funny? I probably did. All right, so There we go. So let's make sure that it's going to hang straight. It looks like we need a little bit more on this side. And I would certainly make sure that your glue has set before you go and, because it'll just kind of want to pull off right in the beginning. So you'll want to make sure that it's set before you do this. Now, if you have issues, you might want to upgrade to something like E6000 or something. You could also glue your ribbon right here as well, right? In fact, that's probably a great idea. I'm going to go ahead and do it. At the top, just more places for it to be tacked down to is a really, really good idea. And then one right here as well. You're just going to make sure that it is straight, right? I'm looking at my bow as a reference point. So there's the bow. That's straight enough, I think. There we go. Okay, let's flip it. Let's take off our little hot glue bits and flip it over. And now we have our hanger. And lots of little bits of snow, which is appropriate because it's a let it snow sign. All right, so at this point you may be good. Like, let's see. Oh yeah, there's a snowflake up there. Oh, that's right, I found that extra snowflake. Let's put that extra snowflake on right now because I wanted to put it right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one right here because I found it. There we go. Let's use a scraper. You like it? I know, it's really cute, isn't it? I mean, starting with this $1 charger that's already finished is such a huge deal because normally when you buy a wood round, you have to paint it or you have to sand it, paint it, or stain it and seal it. And you don't have to do that with this. So that's a really nice benefit. All right, gonna come off for us. There's a little one right there. Okay, let's try a different side. Let's try this bottom here. Nope, not quite. Whenever you're having a problem getting it off like this, just put it back down and burnish it again. I am just using my fingernail right now. But if you have an issue, what you can do is you can take the point of a weeding tool and, you know, for the part that is not wanting to stay down, and I think my hand is covering it so you can't see what I'm doing, but I have this one little branch of this snowflake here that is not coming off my tape, so I'm just going to hold it down as I pull my tape like this. There we go. And then, so if you're like, let's say, you know, you use the wrong tape and it's really sticky, then you can still get it off the tape if you're really patient about holding down all of your vinyl as you work. I have done that before. I think we've all done that before. There we go. There. Isn't that pretty? All right, so I really like this. I think I'm going to leave this one as it is, but let me show you what I did with this other one so that you can see it. So on this one here, I put this little chalkboard tag and I just glued it on. I glued it right here. And the idea is that we could write a year here and change it up every year, or whatever we wanted, right? It can go right here. And then this is just a little, I put a little bow. I used the same pom-pom bow, I just made it smaller. And so it's nice and full. And then there's a little piece of that snowflake wire garland right there, just again to give it a little bit more depth and add more snowflakes to the plate. Now you have an awesome round door sign, but feel free to put these anywhere you want. They don't have to be on your front door. Hang them on a wall or just use them on plate stands like I've done right here. You can put them anywhere. And feel free to like make it for any occasion or just a general welcome sign as well. Have fun. This is a really fun and easy project. Now, if you have any questions about making these round door signs, please let me know. Leave your question below this video or ask over in my craft group at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.